Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. The spring sessions of the University of Vermont Lane Series are underway with performances from now until the end of April. This is the 68th year that the university-run series is bringing performers from around the country and the world to the acclaimed UVM Recital Hall. Over the years, the Lane Series has developed an international reputation as presenters of early and classical music. The series also provides educational outreach to students of all ages, both on and off campus. To learn more, I'm joined by Natalie Newart. Natalie has worked for the Lane Series since 1994. She was appointed director in 2012. It's a job that includes fundraising and programming for all performances in the fall and the spring. Natalie, welcome and thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So what is the genesis of the UVM Lane Series?
In 1955, international touring of artists was rare, almost never done. If you wanted to see a great live performance, you sort of needed to live in a big city. Otherwise, you got your entertainment from clubs and bars and local bands, kinds of things. But in 1955, Mrs. Nellie Lane left a gift to the university to honor her husband, who was an alumni. Who had just passed away. And so she left a gift of $400,000 in 1955. And she gave the university a few choices about what they could do with it. And they chose to create a live performance series. So that's how the Lane series was born. And that's why the name Lane.
Oh, I love that. And so how has the series evolved since its beginnings in 1955?
Well, there've only been four directors, which is very unusual. I'm the fourth director. So I think each director who's done the programming has had a very different vision. In the beginning, it was huge. The Lane series performed at Memorial Auditorium and brought big groups. I think you have a poster you're showing. Yeah, I mean, you could see Simon and Garfunkel and Jacqueline Dupre and Nina Simone, unbelievable, Duke Ellington Orchestra, because it was a new business and artists were interested in touring to the hinterlands, which included Burlington, I think. They wanted to sell records. Really, it's a business that sort of grew out of the record industry, right? And
Sure.
there was really, people were really motivated to tour. And big orchestras, things that would now be impossible financially to do. So I think the first iteration of the Lane series, and there are still plenty of Vermonters and Burlingtonians who remember this iteration of the Lane series, was, big national acts coming to Memorial Auditorium. So people saw the London Symphony and Martha Graham Dance Company, the version of Bye Bye Love on the Simon and Garfunkel album Bridge Over Troubled Waters was recorded in Memorial Auditorium in Burlington on a Lane series
Oh my
concert. So,
gosh. And this was way before the
Simon,
Flynn.
right, way before the Flynn. Flynn was a movie theater for originally Vaudeville House. At this time, it was still showing movies. And so, our community really embraced this. Like, it was needed, it was wanted. I like to say the Lane series was here when Spear Street was a dirt road. So, so that was sort of the first iteration. And then, it's had several others. Jane Ambrose, my predecessor, really brought it back to the university and made it a classical series, a lot of classical music, a lot of early music. Then when I took it over in 2012, I worked hard to start getting it back to its multi-genre roots. So lots of folk music, lots of jazz, even popular music,
Lots of
and
international.
lots of world music, which is sort of my thing.
Yeah.
So I like to think of the Lane series as chamber music of all genres, by which I mean it really needs to be suitable for a small hall. We're not a big stage like the Flynn. It's intimate. It's about intimacy and being close to the performers.
So
So you rarely see more than like six people on a Lane series stage. Occasionally you see more, but that's about it.
well, let's talk about that a little bit because you've gone from this, the large, rather impersonal Memorial Auditorium to a much more intimate and on campus, the UVM Recital Hall. It's a beautiful hall. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the hall was built in 1974, and then as soon as it was online, the Lane series really it became our home. But I will say that it's a classroom and it's there for the music department. So we use it Friday nights. Lane series is a Friday night series. Um, and you can see it was built around this very special organ by a builder named Fisk. There are, I think we're Opus, maybe 120, his 120th instrument, that he came here himself to install it. There
Mm.
aren't a lot of Fisk organs in the country, and they're very fine French Baroque organs. So the hall was sort of built around it with the organ to have this kind of mid-century modern look. And what we ended up with is, and this is sometimes an accident, but there's a lot of science that goes into it too, is something really extraordinarily acoustically perfect.
Mm.
So it has real pin drop acoustics. But what we began to find is that we were doing more music that had amplification. And as the UVM jazz program grew and got stronger and stronger, and students were performing on the stage, in different, genres than classical music, the hall had some problems. It has a lot of low end reverb.
Hmm.
So a drum kit, a bass guitar, a bass amp, really, like, I'm sure people have had this experience of being in the hall and feeling the balance is off or it's too loud. And that's really because of the concrete and wood, very ringing acoustic of the hall. It was very hard to balance music that wasn't really the kind of music that was originally done in it, which was vocal music and string quartets and solo piano. So we knew that eventually we would have to renovate it, upgrade, do an acoustical renovation. That actually, we did end up getting a very generous gift from a family, and we were able to do it during COVID, actually.
Right.
So when things were pretty much closed down, we had the run of the building, or the architects and the designers and the construction people. And so we've done a full acoustical renovation. So it's much better. We can make it sound just the way it did before we did the renovation by flying out all the acoustical material. But we can make it sound much better for jazz and pop
For
music.
all
So
all kinds of genres.
all
Right.
kinds of genres. So we have much more control now. We also added theatrical lighting, which it didn't have, and a better sound system. We redid the chairs. I have a great 2-second story about the chairs, which is the same gentleman upholstered the chairs in 2 years ago that did it in 1974.
Wow.
It was
So
such a Vermont story. He was a young man, now he's an old man, but he's still the best and
Natalie,
did an amazing job.
we are out of time. It is an amazing series. She just does such wonderful things. All kinds of people, international, interesting, fascinating, wonderful music. Many of them are already sold out. So get in there soon. This is how you can get more information and order tickets for any of the Lane Series performances. You can go online to the website at lane.series@uvm.edu. That's lane.series@uvm.edu, or you can call the ticket office at 656-4455. Natalie, thank you so much and good luck for your spring season.
Thank you so much. Hope to see you at the hall.
Okay. A houseplant is a great way to improve indoor air quality. There's also evidence that nurturing a living plant can lower stress and improve your mood. In partnership with UVM Extension Master Gardener Program, Across the Fence presents today's Houseplant Hero segment to help you choose, grow, and care for your houseplants indoors.
Hi, I'm Judy Miro, a UVM Master Gardener, coming to you from the University of Vermont Greenhouses. And I'm here to help you become a houseplant hero by providing some guidance in caring for your houseplant. Today, our focus is on the Sansevieria. It's the snake plant. The snake plant is a long-lived, unfussy, succulent plant. There are more than 70 species of snake plants originating from Africa. The cultivars vary in height, form, color, and even leaf structure. You'll find varieties growing from 6 inches to several feet. With all these types, you should be able to find one that's right for your living space. Growing the snake plant is easy as it gets. It needs well-drained soil, so choose a cactus potting mix to ensure you're getting that drained soil. Water it only when the soil is dry. You can overlove this plant. That's right, you can overlove, or as I like to say, overwater this plant. So let's just neglect it. A little bit. Snake plants enjoy bright, indirect light, but they can tolerate low-lit areas just as well. Do not place this plant in direct sun or you'll risk leaf burn. And you can tell by this plant, someone didn't love it very much and they put it in the direct sun, and it does have leaf tip burn. The one thing you do need to fuss over is the container. It's best to choose a big old heavy pot for the taller varieties because the weight of these leaves can topple the plant over, especially when the soil is dry. If you've already got your snake plant happily planted in a plastic pot, just plop it into a decorative ceramic container and it'll maintain stability, and you'll actually look like a pro. This plant doesn't mind being root bound either, so there's no rush to repot it. If you want to treat the snake plant to a little extra TLC, wipe the leaves down to prevent dust buildup. There are very few pests and diseases that bother this leafy green snake plant, but overwatering can attract mealybugs and spider mites. Overwatering can also cause root rot. What should you do if you find pests on your plant? Hose the plant off gently at the first sign of pests. Rinse it off in the shower if it's too cold outside. Remove any of the pests that you see or any leaves that are heavily infested. Once your plant is drip dry while you still have it in the shower or sink, spray it with an organic neem oil to kill off any bugs that remain. For mealybugs, you may choose to use a cotton swab dipped in rubbing alcohol and remove all visible bugs. Then wipe each plant leaf down with a cotton ball or cloth dipped in rubbing alcohol to remove any that you haven't removed before. Some bugs like to hide. Always make sure you read the directions carefully and completely before applying any pest control application, and remember to wear all the required safety gear listed. Safety glasses and rubber gloves are always a good idea. To keep the snake plant happy, ignore it. Well, not entirely, but be sure to let the plant dry out between waterings and provide good air circulation. Remember that by providing your plants with the conditions and care they need, you too can be a houseplant hero. For more information on houseplants or home gardens, visit the UVM Master Garden website and see our garden resources page. Or contact the Extension Master Gardener volunteers at the helpline. The phone number is on your screen. This is Extension Master Gardener Judy Miro wishing you happy gardening.
Our thanks to Judy and the Master Gardener program. I learned something about my snake plant. And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.